Hi there, and welcome to part 5 of You're Being Shaped, which is a series of videos I'm doing on Vance Packard's book, The People Shapers. And in our last video, I was talking about Delgado as an experiment, these experiments that he was doing on animals, and we're just going to continue on with that. He was talking about the various parts of the brain on subjects that he liked to stimulate to get the desired response, and I was reading on the ball he was controlling by remote control, and so reading on here with here's Delgado talking. It says here, after chronic caudate stimulation, he said the dangerous ball was tamed and could be maintained. He added that caudate stimulation is used routinely on his laboratory to inhibit monkeys and gibbons that need to be caught. And a little bit on the caudate nucleus. It's partly responsible for body movement and coordination. I just did a little bit of research, and I can pronounce that right, I think. So yes, reading on. Reads here, the reduction of aggressive behaviour in humans by electrical brain stimulation has also been reported. Delgado has described a case involving a mentally disturbed person who habitually launched physical attacks upon members of his own family. After repeated stimulation of his amygdala, or amygdaloid, I think it's pronounced, I'm terrible at pronouncing this, amygdaloid nucleus, the attacks were considerably diminished, and the amygdala, or amygdaloid nucleus, the amygdaloid, it says here, it plays a role in the sense of smell, motivation, and motivational behaviour. So that's the part he's stimulating there. Reading on, Robert Heath of Tulane University, who pioneered the electrical stimulation of human brains, has equipped dangerously aggressive mental patients with self-stimulators. A film shows a patient working himself out of a violent mood by pushing his stimulator button. Delgado has induced ferocious behaviour in a peaceful colony of caged gibbons by stimulating their central grey matter near the brainstem. And Wilhelm Umbach, a neurosurgeon at the Free University in Berlin, has reported that aggressiveness in already aggressive patients was increased by stimulating the nucleus of the, how do we pronounce it? Amygdala. Delgado makes important qualifications about his ability to incite aggressiveness. He has found that the particular situation can make a big difference, and Umbach's findings would seem to support this because the same type of stimulation did not provoke aggression in non-aggressive patients. One of the events that caused Delgado to be cautious was an experiment involving a male monkey. Under stimulation, the monkey would not lash out at a stranger. Under stimulation, the monkey would lash out at a stranger or a pen rival, but he did not show any hostility to his female friend. Such findings were one reason Delgado set up a testing area on a 1.5-acre island. Here he had a natural environment. His gibbons with electrode under the skin implants are no longer jailed animals in laboratory cages. They have the full run of the island. In some tests, such as those in which movement is modified, the gibbons react exactly the same way as they did when tested back in the jail. But when their central grey is stimulated, they respond quite differently from the way they used to him when they were jailed. Instead of becoming aggressively abusive towards the nearest gibbon they react by showing a considerable increase in running around and hollering. Delgado told me we must conclude that social responses of the brain are powerfully influenced by the setting, and we must be very careful about centralizing from laboratory experiments. This different reaction of his gibbons, in his view, could lead to a far more optimistic concept of man. That's interesting. So if you're going to apply that stimulation to human brains, if they were, say, in a shopping mall, they might react different to if they were in a big football pitch when they were confined, or if they were in a nightclub or something like that, or a big crowd. Maybe that's where he's coming from. Man is the most immature at birth. Patterns are only lightly set. A human baby is helpless and for months can perform a few functions beyond suckling and moving its limbs, vocalizing, etc., etc. Delgado believes that in man it is not genes so much as accumulated sensory information that shapes future behaviour patterns. We have been talking only about the effects of electrical stimulation on aggression. What about chemicals? Are there actually potential peace pills we could give leaders to keep them from provoking dangerous confrontations, or pills we could give to anyone judged to be unduly aggressive? Scientists have already developed what amounts to a chemical straitjacket. Here in this section it's titled Turning Anxiety Up or Down, and it's more in Delgado. Delgado has generated fear in a gibbon by stimulating its reticular formation. He has found that reducing a generalized mood or anxiety by electrical stimulation of specific brain areas still poses difficult problems. Others, meanwhile, are claiming some success through a generalized electrical tinkling of the whole brain. In Russia, it is called electro-sleep. In the United States, cerebral electrotherapy. Usually, 4 electrodes are clamped to the head of the patient who is in a resting position. 2 are above the eyebrows, 2 are behind the ears. At most, the patient feels a slight tingle while being treated for about half an hour. Often, he seems to doze. I'm going to read on here about an experiment that was done on a child, I think, or maybe it's another section, I'm not sure. Let's just read on anyway. I was just reading. At most, the patient feels a slight tingle while being treated for about half an hour. Afterward, if the treatment has been successful, he is likely to exclaim how relaxed and refreshed he feels. The technique was developed by the Russians as a treatment for insomnia, but anxiety is a common cause of insomnia. The treatment spread to other countries and recently to the United States. Dr. Saul R. Rosenthal, psychiatrist at the University of Texas Medical School, San Antonio, did a control study with anxiety-prone patients for 5 days. One group got the current, the other group was told it was getting the current but did not. Most of the stimulated patients showed marked improvement. After 5 days, most of the control group did not. There remain questions about how long the relief lasts, and there are still skeptics who call for more testing. With the first success in treating chronically depressed people, the first major success in treating chronically depressed people was with the electroconvulsive shock. Initially, it was a rugged remedy, and that was going on in the 60s. Lots of people had that done, probably before then as well. Just a little bit on turning anxiety up or down and controlling moods via electric shock and remote control and things like that. You may or may not have heard, if you're into the kind of research I'm into, something called targeted individuals, where people claim that they're being manipulated by unseen forces, by hidden technologies and things like that. And there's even people that claim they have chips inside their brains and things like that. And some claim that they've been abducted by aliens, and that they have chipped them, and that they're doing experiments on them and things like that. And others claim that it's the military monitoring them and doing experiments. And this makes me, when I hear stuff like that, it's almost like what Delgado was doing in a much more primitive way. Because it makes you wonder. I mean, I have my own theory on people that say that they've been abducted by aliens. I think that these people are being experimented on secretly, and they are targeted individuals, and I think that is quite relevant to what we've been reading. So that's part 5, and in part 6 we're going to continue on a bit about Delgado and then move on to some other topics. So I'll talk to you then.